Hello guys, how you guys doing? Welcome back to the channel. Well, today I just want to take a few minutes to say thank you because in the last 7 days, we've had quite a few subscribers join. Baha'i Brothers Ltd, Class of Cricket, Jeff Johnson, Popovich Daniel, Baccarat Leonardo, Nasu Darko Reaper, Alora Vinay, Chan Sakura, Care English S. Habib, and Matsuela Taiman. I hope I did not butcher your guys' names, but either way, I just wanted to say thank you so much. I appreciate your guys' support. Also, we're at 824 subscribers, so we're growing quickly. Also, don't forget to take a peek at my newest videos out. The two most recent videos are one on ChatGPT, which is an AI chat that is drawing a lot of attention across the world, and especially in educational institutions, and also one on Polybar, which is a status bar that you could put on any distribution of Linux that you want to run it on, and it will give you plenty of information and notifications, also icons upon which you can like mute volume, tell you what your system load is, all that good stuff. You can predominantly find it in window managers, so go ahead and give that one a peek too. Might be interested in that one as well. Today, what we're going to take a look at is going to be a distribution it's actually based off Manjaro, or an Arch-based distribution that was mentioned to me. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it before. It's been around for quite a while, and it's very customized and looks very nice. And so we're going to go ahead and dive into it. And that operating system today is going to be BigLinux. And so here is their webpage. I want to start here on the webpage because it's got some information on it that you guys could probably benefit from. And one is, it's Brazilian made. To download it, you go on to the download here, and it's at the biglinux.com.br/download. I will put the link in the description. The minimum requirements are to have a 64-bit Intel or AMD processor, 2 gigabytes of RAM, and 8 gigs of space. So it's your typical standard Arch-based kind of requirements. Also, it's got 3 kernel versions available. It's got a 5.10 version, a 5.15 version, which is their recommended one. I believe the 5.10 would be more or so their LTS version, and the 5.15 would also be another LTS version, the 5.10 would be the hardened kernel, and 5.15 is the LTS, and the 6.0 is of course a rolling release version. Also, they have it's completely customized KDE desktop, so it's been totally customized, so it is KDE based, but it doesn't look like your standard KDE desktop. What I wanted to show you is over here under others. If you go to resources, this here will explain BigLinux resources in search of the perfect system. Our system is a collaborative to get to know our form and become part of the evolution. Check out the news. Thanks for choosing BigLinux. Now, it has a control center, which is very, very nice. We'll take a look at in a minute. Also, Big Info, which is your system information. And then it's got, a OCR to PDF app in there. It's got restore settings with one click, which you can do that, of course. It's got the driver installation thing, which is similar to what Manjaro has and quite a few other Arch Linux distributions have as well. What it does have is, BigLinux offers gaming support, just like a lot of your Arch distributions. I don't think it offers it as in-depth as Nobara, but I'm going to test that out, and then I'm going to do a comparison. So this is like the part one of that video that we're going to do. It has a noise reduction, like a noise gateway that's already implemented from the start at boot up to allow you to like not have any noise interruption whenever you're using either through streaming microphone or maybe you're on a Zoom meeting or whatever. Also, it has snapshots and backups enabled from the beginning. There's also some desktops that you could change through, and they're going to be the traditional classic, new, modern, KUnity, NextG, and Desk X, and I'll show you how to get to those. Also, it has, much like, you would say the Discovery Store, they've kind of made it into a big store, which are curated applications for their system that also includes also other curated Arch Linux apps as well that they've put in there. For BTRFS is the file system that it uses by default. And then they also have a application that will let you listen to a text document. You can put it into it or open with it, and it should read it. And the other thing that's interesting are web apps that it has installed. You don't find that in a lot of distributions. Quite a Linux Mint has it, I believe, and I just did a review on another video just recently within the last 2 or 3 months that had it in it as well. But you don't find it very often. But what is nice about web apps is it turns a web page like, say, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, and it actually makes it into an application type scenario where you can put it in your menu and you can click on it and it'll just open it up like in a containerized app, just like as if it was, you know, the web, you were opening up the web page right there or whatever it is. So it basically turns any web page that you go to and you can make it an application into your menus that you launch, and it's self-contained. But what's interesting is not only does it have web apps, but it also has Google web apps, which I guess they've containerized a bunch of Google apps, which, you know, Google, you know, it's can be kind of very similar to bloatware to me, I think, but you know, it's a little ticky-tacky on that end. So, but I just want to show you that those are the major things that it has in it that they focused on outside of the regular standard Linux distribution stuff that they have in there. So, let's go ahead and take a look at it. So, BigLinux, this is what you're met with. This is the desktop. It's got, you know, your trash icon, your control center, and your Dolphin file manager. Right here, the panel at the top panel, this is where all your windows are and your workspaces and stuff like that that you can toggle between. Also, if you, over here on the right hand side, this is where your system tray's at, as well as your pinned task managers, right? And also your hidden icons as well. Clicking on the time and date opens up this wonderful calendar with a stopwatch on there, and that you can set for 30 seconds, 1 minute, you know, timer. So I mean, that's kind of pretty cool. I mean, that's not, you don't find that a lot in a lot of different, you know, distributions. So that's kind of cool. Now that has this dock at the bottom. Now when this dock first installs, for some reason, I don't know why, but so if you right click on it, you go to edit dock. It always comes with Dodge activated. I'm not sure why I switched it to always visible. If you do the auto hide, it auto hides but stays hid. It's really weird. It's a bug on it. I'm not sure why it does that, but it does. So either way, I just basically switched it to always visible, and I left it there and I closed right here. Of course, as you can see in the edit dock, you can edit a lot of different settings. Also, you can edit the panel too, the top panel, but that's not here. You have to right click on the panel to do that. Same thing, only the panel will be, you know, highlighted, and you can do whatever you want. Also, you can do appearances, you can do effects, you can do tasks, you know, you can do different things. I mean, there's a whole lot that you can do with this Latte dock. So just know that, you know, to switch that's what you got to do. So that being said, your application launcher, now normally in your, you know, like Xero Linux or ones that have customized the KDE, the app launcher is usually in the panel up here in the top left. It is not here. It is down here on the dock, and here it is. And this is what it looks like. This is a standard app launcher. But before we get into that, I want to dive into this control center. So let's go ahead and open this control center. This is what your control center looks like. Now, it has a lot of your settings are all done from within here, both the standard settings as well as the their own BigLinux customized settings, like your monitors here, your themes are right here, and we'll take a look at that in a second. But you got network, you got phone because it's already got K-Connect installed, and it's also got AirDroid, AirMore, Android application support, Snapdrop, which is basically a near-field communication, I believe, KDE Connect. It's also got connect to the internet using Android, so it's already got like an Android studio, like Andbox or something like that installed as well. So under customize, of course, this you can do like your application style, which is like your KDE, where you can switch between, your window manager and stuff like, or your window borders, your Windows decorations. Auto start, background services, Kvantum, boot splash themes, which is kind of cool because you can switch between BigLinux, the black screen, boot log, whichever one you want. Like, I think if you do this, I think you can demonstrate it, and this is what it looks like. Oops. So, I mean, there's that. Of course, you can change colors, default applications, cursors, and default desktops. Sorry. And of course, desktop sessions here, which you can, I think, select here what's going to be your default desktop session. So yeah, I mean, you can do, all kinds of cool stuff there. Icons and emoticons, launch feedback. I mean, there's, login screen here. This is where you can, for the SSDM screen, select a default theme. Right now it's set to BigLinux, so I'm going to go ahead and keep it there. But I mean, so there's that you can do for customizers, regional language, multimedia, accounts, just the whole system right here, partitioning, restoring the program configuration right here. This is where you can do the restore, the one-click restores, the BigLinux KDE, all that good stuff. So, I mean, there's just, it's right there. USB image writer, of course, the development. But let's go back to the main. And let's go to the top under these desks and themes, because this is where a lot of people, look, people like their eye candy. So let's go here and take a look at the eye candy. I mean, that's when you get into a KDE theme, that's what you want to look at. So these are different themes right here that already come. It's got the Fluent, or it's got the Breeze Dark, Breeze Light, Fluent, Dark, and Light. It's got the Fluent Solid, Dark, and Light. It's also got the Materia, Dark, and Light. But the other desktop settings that they were talking about, the desktop environments that they have, or like these kind right here, kind of like Zorin OS, how they have the ones that you can choose from, which are like the classic one, the KUnity, the new one, which I believe has more of a Windows 10 field, NextG. You've got the modern one, and you've got Desk X, which I think is more like your Mac, OS type one. I believe NextG is the one that we're on right now. That comes default out of the box. So that is where you can change those also. And then you got settings where you can do performance mode, browser acceleration. You can even configure Brave. You can choose different programs to load into memory on boot right away. I mean, there's lots of stuff. I mean, what I do like about BigLinux, and what I think is very awesome about it, is you have a lot of control to a lot of hidden things that you don't normally have in other distributions. So that is a good thing, but that would be something that more for advanced users. Beginners can certainly navigate around this quite easily. It's set up for them to be able to do and pretty much will use whatever apps they want. It's also got the software store included, so I mean they can download apps with it as well. We'll take a look at that in a second. So I mean, there's lots of cool stuff in this distribution that have been tweaked and polished very nicely. System hardware information. If you open this is going to give you your load. You got to put in, because it's accessing hardware. It's going to want root privileges. So we're giving it that, and right now it's generating a more complete report right now on what the system load is. system hardware is and all that good stuff. And here we go. It's got the CPU, it's got the RAM, it's got the video card, your system, you know, all the different information you need. The kernel that's in use is the 5.15 for based off Manjaro. Like I said, this is a Manjaro based distribution. So, I mean, that gives you that general information. So there's that. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the things that they have installed. So let's go to the big store. In favorites, you have Big Store, Control Center, LibreOffice. So there, I have the LibreOffice suite installed. Of course, Calculator and Kate, which is a plain text editor. Let's open up the big store real quick and take a look at it. And in the big store, as you can see, they have native packages, which are ones that they've created themselves. It has AUR enabled, you know, support enabled, or enabled for you to be able to use, you know, applications that are from the AR, curated from the AR. And it's also got Flatpak already enabled as well. So you could use Flatpak and you could use AUR. And I believe that the AUR helper that it uses by nature, I think, is Yay. So that's the native one that they have installed. You could also use, I'm sure, Peru, as with any other Arch distribution. And of course, as you can see, they've got everything categorized and broke down. This is very clean. It's very neat. The way that they have their app store set up. It's not like the Gnome store where it's got the flashy, you know, pictures of the apps and all that kind of stuff. I don't believe until you click onto a category. Like I'm clicking on browsers to see if it opens up. And see, and of course, see, and it doesn't have that. It's just basically shows you what's installed. And like I can do Firefox 100.9 to install it, and you click install. This is very nice. This is a very well done app store. It's clean, it's detailed oriented but not over detailed oriented. I like to click on detail so I can see what we're doing here. And so just like that, it'll be done, and it's there. Just that fast. That is awesome. I do like how it's clean and organized in this app store. I find it quite nice. This is, I would think it's more modern feeling to me, and I think this is the way that most of these other stores should operate. So that's a look at their big store, which is top notch as well. So under games, they already have K-Mines, K-Patience. They've got Lutris already installed and Steam. Now that I think is the extent of their gaming support that they do. They do have where you can turn on the performance mode, but I'm not sure. I didn't see a toggle anywhere where the game mode has been turned on. Now I don't know if that's something that you can do on the command line here for this one, or if it's already enabled. I haven't checked it, but like I said, I'll find out if that is on in another video when I do a side-by-side comparison between this and Nobara. Under graphics, it's got GIMP, Gwenview, and ScanPage, which is a document scanner. Under internet, you have Brave, of course, Firefox. I just installed JDownloader, which is your torrent downloader, and also a download manager, and then Qubit Torrent, which is your torrent downloader, and then Remote Desktop Rust Desk. I guess that's written in Rust, because I've never heard of it, and by the name, I would think that. But anyhow, multimedia, it's got Clementine, You've GovCView, reduce microphone noise, which is their script or app that they put on. If I click on it, it opens it up, and I can do noise filter, and it started automatically. And I guess the audio manager, yep, it lets you do the volume control for everything. So there's that. And let's simple screen recorders installed, SM player, sound recorder, and video converter Mystique. So that's like Handbrake. Office, of course, you got the LibreOffice suite installed, and it uses Ocular as your PDF viewer. Under settings, of course, you got your add or remove software, the big store, the control center. So the add or remove software should be like your PAMAC. 100% PAMAC right there. See, so they've got PAMAC installed also. So it's not to be confused with that their curated software store. That PAMAC one is your standard one that comes with your Arch-based distributions, such as Manjaro, because it's actually created by Manjaro. And then, of course, I got the control center, which we looked at, and of course, your software update center. Under system, they have Dolphin. They've got console installed as your terminal emulator, Cases Guard, and then menu editor. So this is nice because with this, you should be able to edit menus. Yep, you can edit whatever's in the menus to change icons, whatever you want. It's kind of like when you right click and you enter the menu editor on KDE on the applications, the launcher, your application launcher. Same thing. Only it's just there under system. And then for utilities, they have Arc, Calculator, Firelight, which is really nice. That shows you the amount. Well, let's just open it up and take a look at it. It shows you where you can scan your folders, and it shows you exactly the percentages of where things are on your disks. So I mean, it's pretty nice, and it would, like, this is your home folder. So it's a nice graphical view of how much disk space you've used up. Of course, Kate, their plain text editor, which I showed you before. They got OCR to scan PDF, print queue. I don't know. I think they got Run Launcher, a Spectacle, which is your screenshot tool, and this is your speech to text or text to speech. Under web apps, like I showed you, you could add a web apps. They already have some already made, like the BigLinux forum. They have Amazon Music already done, Facebook, Instagram. They've got Odyssey, which is like a YouTube. I'm also on Odyssey, by the way, so you guys can look me up over there, the Linux tube on Odyssey. They got like Microsoft Outlook, Prime Video. You can make any web page that you go to into a containerized app. So let's go ahead and open one up. Let's open up the BigLinux forum. And see, it opens up just like as if you were launching an application on your thing. But really, it's a containerized web page. And what's nice about them doing this is you can get help right here through them. As you saw, where you can translate the page from Brazilian to English, so you can read things, and you can post things, and you can get help that you need. So, it's very, very cool. Web apps are actually really, really cool. I discovered them a while ago, and I enjoy them. I do use like my Facebook one and my Messenger one, also YouTube one as well, and Gmail is, because that's what I use is Gmail. And so I use them as well. But what's interesting, like I said, this is one that you don't see very often, is the Google Web Apps one that they made. So that's kind of cool how they did that. Like, let's open up Gmail and click on it. It's going to probably open up to the web page where you sign in. Exactly, right here. Boom, boom. But I do the same thing in regular web apps. So, it's kind of cool that it's almost a redundant thing, because you already have web apps here, and all of these web apps for Google Web Apps could actually go in the web apps one. But it's interesting that they do that they make that distinction, from all the Google stuff. Just a little bit more eye candy, but is it really something that they really needed to do? I don't think so, because like I said, they could have just did a whole, in the web apps category, just a whole subfolder in there, or just put them all in there, whichever one, So, but anyhow, so that's their web apps that they have for Google. And then also here is your power session. This is where you end it. Normally, you've got a power session over here by your tray, your system tray, or on your launcher, but for KDE. But in this instance, they have made it its own thing in the actual launchers. So when you want to log out or whatever, lock it, or whatever you want to do, right here you go. It's right here. So on the Latte dock down at the bottom, they've got your present Windows button, which will bring any present Windows into, a format where you can click through them and scroll through them. Also, you got your file manager, which is Dolphin, which is your typical standard looking Dolphin, where you can increase and, all that good stuff with file icons and stuff like that. So, you got your standard places in the left-hand pane, along with your different file icons over here, which change from desktop environment to desktop environment when you switch to them, from NextG to the Unity X or whatever. They do change those, so that's something to be aware of. Then you have the default browser that they have in here was obviously not Firefox, because you saw me install Firefox. It's actually Brave, so they have a little bit of security in mind when it comes to that, but yet they put all the Google stuff on. And I'll let you guys ponder that one. And then they have calculator pinned to this latte dock, which I would unpin that, because, I mean, unless you're an engineer, and I mean, I don't know why you would use calculator. Maybe a student would or whatever, but I mean, and then they've got Kate, the plain text editor. They've got Spectacle here. This is the speech reader for you. And then, of course, they got Big Store, which is their store. And then, of course, you got your control center, which we looked at. And then this has got the Manjaro Boot Splash Manager, which I forgot to close. Open. And then, of course, they've got a recycle bin pinned here. So that is BigLinux in a nutshell. Now, it's a beautiful distribution. It really is. It's well done. It's got a lot of good applications in it, above and beyond the standard regular Arch-based apps that would be found in Manjaro. It does have the Steam support, or the Steam already built into it, baked into it. It's got the Lutris baked into it. Whether it's got the performance mode set up on a kernel level, and even maybe CPU scheduling, like the F-Sync kernel that has been specifically made for Nobara by Glorious Eggroll, I'm not sure of, but it does feel snappy too in what I've been using it on. So, I mean, really, it's a very well done distribution as far as the Brazilian one. You know, I mean, being a Brazilian, not that much matters, but I mean, it's a very well done and curated one that's been around for a long time. And I'm really sorry I haven't seen this distribution earlier. I really find it awesome. It's the way that they've laid it out, though. When you actually look at it, if we go back and take a look at it, you know, it almost has the KDE icon feel, but a GNOME feel to me, which is kind of interesting that it has that, because it just, the only thing I'm missing is when over here in the upper left hand corner in the panel would be an activities button. So I mean, it like I said, it's like they meshed both GNOME and KDE into one in this NextG desktop environment that they have. Now, I imagine the other desktop environments that they have, which we'll take a look at later on down the road, is probably more on the semblant to KDE side, but this NextG one is kind of cool. Either way, guys, if you use BigLinux and you know something that I didn't, cover in this video, please do not be afraid to leave a comment down below so that I can get it into the next video that I do on BigLinux, which is going to be the comparison video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Also share if you will. And guys, y'all keep doing what you do. Stay blessed, stay safe, and have a great day.